It's Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
This is It's Movie Time. Hope, and it's just about summertime.
It is.
Thinking about the boys this summer. I'm thinking about baseball. And then I'm thinking about a movie we're going to review.
It all fits in.
All right. So tell me, is it Everybody Wants Some?
It is.
Oh, what the heck is that about? Everybody wants some. I can only guess what some is.
Yeah, I think they're pretty clear as the movie wears on, but I think it's fitting. It's a Van Halen song from 1980, just in the way Dazed and Confused was a Led Zeppelin song in the time period of the spiritual predecessor to this movie.
Right. Okay. So, what's going on? Why would anybody want to see this movie? What's happening?
Well, if you're a fan of Richard Linklater, and you like that fluid, just a day in the life storytelling, and no one does it better than he does.
Oh my.
And he manages to almost. The film suggests that it's not showing you anything, it's not telling you anything. There's nothing structured about it, and yet somehow he manages to really capture very pivotal moments in adolescence, in youth, and the same thing happens here. It's 3 days. It's a 3-day weekend just before the first day of college, and we follow an incoming freshman to the baseball building where he'll be living with his team.
I love it. It's like a South Texas college.
Yes, it is.
It's just absolutely nowhere. And these guys are coming, and they're so full of testosterone. It's the baseball team lives together.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's off campus, 2 houses donated or whatever because they don't have enough room on campus.
Right.
And I was going to say, fortunately, it's unsupervised.
Right. Yes, fortunately for them, it's unsupervised.
So these jocks are coming in, and he's quite good. He's more the all-American type.
Linklater, you think?
I'm sorry.
Oh, the kid, yes. Yeah, Jake is the character's name.
Jake.
Blake Jenner is the actor.
Yeah, Blake Jenner. And so he's coming in, and the rest of these guys most of them seem like seasoned veterans in this whole game.
Right. Yeah, you've got a couple of freshmen, very fish out of water, trying to fit in, and then the veterans of the team, they're just ruthless. They're just going through their albums. They're taking their clothes. It's very funny. And in true Linklater way, the dialogue is fairly priceless. One character Finnegan, he gets most of the great lines. But
isn't he a wonderful character?
Yeah, it's all so tribal, he says, which is true. I mean, he nails it. It's really beautifully written.
Doesn't he say this? Don't be afraid to let the experience find you.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
But so many of them have great lines. The one pitcher who is like, find your inner weird.
He's the stoner.
Yes. And actually, I gotta say, my favorite scene of the entire film is set to the Pink Floyd song "Fearless." The song where they're like, let's all be telepathic. What are you thinking right now? I love that scene so much.
Well, they are. They're certainly drinking a few beers.
Yes.
But I think their main occupation is finding women.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Yes. And and I think it's funny, also sort of being adaptable and finding their own who they are. Because what I think is hilarious about that, and it's also so perfectly 1980, they go disco dancing one night, the next night they're all urban cowboys, then they're at a random punk show.
Right.
Because it was 1980 was a really pivotal time in pop culture and in music. I mean, there was a ton of very not overlapping things happening if you look back at it, but I think that he captures that in a way that not only makes you nostalgic for that time period, but makes a point about sort of finding yourself, which is also what you do when you go to college.
Yeah. And I think you hit the right word, adaptive. I think he even uses adaptive. And I think the fourth party is in the arts group.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You got perfectly. You're going in. There's all this kind of weird show going on with all the fine arts majors. It's just...
And then these jocks show up, and they don't know what's going on.
But another thing I like about it, which is probably less romantic than we have been talking about, is the fact that while they would love to become pros, they're very clear that they know they don't have a chance.
Yeah, and in fact they seem a little sad for anybody who isn't clearly aware. There's the one teammate who is nuts, and sure that he's being scouted at every possible minute, and they feel, I think, sad for him that he's delusional, that he thinks he's going to play baseball after college. If this is it, enjoy what you got.
And I think I like very much your comment, which is of course so true about Linklater, is that there's this fluidity without there being any real plot.
Yeah.
It just flows, and I remember that with Boyhood,
Oh,
a completely
yeah.
different movie.
Oh yes, very.
But the sense, and I remember sitting there for almost 3 hours. I said, "How can I do this?" But I'm watching a life progress.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating,
It is.
even though it's all pretty daily stuff.
Right. I think Dazed and Confused is like that as well, but if you go back and watch it again, it feels more structured than this.
Yeah.
This one is more, I think, more like Boyhood, where you're just meandering through this 3-day weekend with these guys. But it's you never get bored. You just, and the way the camera moves about, you just feel like you're at the party with them. It's fun. It is far too forgiving of a film. It smacks a little bit of nostalgia and sort of self-congratulations. But the cast is top to bottom incredibly charming. I mean, that's what the film is for me, just charming.
Listen, I said the Spotlight team
Right.
was the best last year. Then I saw Glengarry Glen Ross, and there's a team.
Oh my God.
An incredible acting.
Oh,
These
yeah.
guys are good.
Yes,
The
they really are.
ensemble is great.
It's really true. They really, really are. They're so funny, and the camaraderie and just the awkwardness and just the internal forgiveness that boys on teams have. They're just going to beat the hell out of each other, and then the next day they're all going to be fine and share a beer bong. It's just very realistic and comfortable.
So tell me, you interviewed them,
I did.
and give me any insight that you got from the interview.
So the real jock, the one who was hitting a baseball with an axe, with a
Tyrone
mustache. The actor's name is Tyler Heckner.
Tyler, that's right.
And he cried every day. This is what I learned. The other two made fun of him because he cried on set all the time. And I felt so bad for him during the interview because they just wouldn't let it go. They just kept saying it, which I thought was... But that was a very intense character, so probably had to get worked up for it. I don't know.
I really liked the goofy character, the pitcher,
Yes.
and the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, Tyler's
Yes. Yeah.
moment.
When the kid out of high school who was the greatest pitcher in high school is throwing BP against your cleanup hitter on a college team, and the hitter looks at him one time and is like, all right, you're asking for it, kid, and yeah, he delivers.
And I think his name is McReynolds.
Yes, there you go.
McReynolds, and he's of course like the daddy of them all.
Right.
And this guy is, while there's so much bluff about other people, you look at him and you say, well, no, he's just a Lothario and probably just a bunch of hot air, and he's not.
No.
He's a very fine athlete.
Yes. And it's funny because not all those actors are athletes, and baseball is hard to fake.
I wondered that, yeah.
But that guy is. You could tell just his swing is beautiful, and then it's again one of my favorite scenes. You think he's swinging at these balls with a bat, and then you realize it's an axe.
An axe is
it's
great.
So cool.
And I like Linklater because with all of this fun, there is a dose of realism.
Yeah.
And one of the parts that was realistic, and I thought pretty nice, was the romantic part.
Yeah.
Our hero meets up with a young woman, and through some difficulties he has, he finally connects with her.
Right.
And this is really just boilerplate boy meets girl stuff, so different from, for me, the raucous Animal House kind of world.
Sure.
And that was what I appreciate about Linklater, and he can take us there. So we don't say, oh no, please, not this. He's not going to fall in love, and it happens.
Right. It's true. It doesn't feel manipulative. It doesn't feel inauthentic. Yeah.
Well, Hope Madden. The film is Everybody Wants Some, and it's directed by Richard Linklater with a fine, we both agree, with a really fine ensemble. Our job, it's an education we're talking about. They're going to college. We're here. We have to grade. What grade would you award this, Hope?
I'm going to give it an A-.
Oh, and for truth, that's exactly the grade I gave. I don't know why I'm not giving it an A. Do you know why? I mean, I realize there's instinctual things we do. Both of us have an
Mhm.
A- for it. Do we know why we?
I do. There are a couple places where I feel as though it's slightly overwritten. I think that a bunch of guys living together would occasionally say something that wasn't profound and awesome. And again, I feel like it's a bit too forgiving. Like at some point, there should probably be some consequence to this behavior, even if it's just sort of noted on the side. But those are, I mean, they're fairly minor quibbles. I found the film to be just overjoying.
I do like that comment a great deal. And most of the dialogue here is not anybody in college, much less jocks.
But it's just so awesome to hear it. You know, you just forgive it right away because you just love hearing it.
In the end, this is art.
Yep.
And we don't go there to hear
Right.
what we would all say.